no team had more players selected in the 2025 NFL Draft than Ohio State. Let's talk about what that means for the Buckeyes. Can they reload, and who else is going to make a play for that title in 2025 going into 2026? What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, welcome. Thank you for joining us here. We talk college football. We talk football year round. And if you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think that Ohio State can once again have the most players selected in an NFL draft for a consecutive year? As is the trend, the team that wins the national championship has the most players drafted most of the time, right? And you take a look at Ohio State, and you'll see no one had more players selected than they did with 14. And you can go down the list. It's a who's who of the guys that really not only led them to the 2024 national championship, but set the table for this. Going back to Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, Will Howard, Donovan Jackson, Emeka Egbuka, Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, Lathan Ransom, Denzel Burke. We can keep going down the list on this. But what's scary about the Buckeyes is, while Emeka Egbuka, he's leaving with the school record for receptions. And Travion Henderson might be one of the most talented tailbacks to ever play at Ohio State. Quinshon Judkins, one of the most impactful transfers ever in college football. Same is true of Will Howard. JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer, two bookends that they probably don't win a national championship if they don't have. But then you look at what they have and what they're planning to put out on the field August 31st when they play against Texas, and you see, my goodness, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. That's Caleb Downs at the safety position, who is the best defensive player that might be eligible for selection in the NFL draft, full stop. Look at that backfield. If James Peoples is half as good as people are telling me that he has the opportunity to be, oh my goodness, you're talking about another guy who can tote that barge, lift that bell. On the outside, Carnell Tate, who was reportedly offered $1 million just to hit the transfer portal, staying at Ohio State. And then, yes, they got another one of them Martians out there, another one of them aliens, another one of them uncanny X-Men in Jeremiah Smith catching passes from, we think, the best quarterback available in his recruiting class in Julian Sayin. They're going to be good once again. Realize that Brian Hartline has a run of 5 wide receivers being selected in the first round in the last 4 years, and now he is the play calling offensive coordinator. They tried to upgrade at offensive line. They also got a new offensive line coach. They got a new defensive coordinator in Matt Patricia, who's going to bring his NFL style of defense to them. I think Ohio State has every opportunity to repeat as the national champions in 2025. However, you look what's going on behind them. You see Georgia was right there with 13 players selected. Georgia, who won the SEC championship, made the college football playoff. You see Texas with 12 players selected who, yes, made the SEC championship in year 1 and, again, goes out against Ohio State in the college football playoff. If you believe the NFL, if Arch Manning would have been the quarterback, they probably win the national championship because Quinn Ewers got selected in the 7th round. And while I understand that there's a contingent of people that believe that it's more fit than it is where you select it, and I tend to mostly agree with that, getting drafted in the 7th round only works if you're Brock Purdy. Up until then, it didn't really work out. Undrafted had a better opportunity to be a full-time starter in the NFL than the 7th round selection. Now, Mike McDaniels is going to take on the guy that all he did was win at Texas, and a guy that was beating Alabama. He beat Alabama. And he watched Jalen Milroe get benched in that game. And then he had to watch Jalen Milroe get drafted in the 3rd round and him not to the 7th. I'm sure it doesn't get under Quinn Ewers' skin, but it certainly gets under the skin of some others. Texas fans are going, he wasn't that good. Glad y'all see that now. Glad y'all see that we was being held back. And you know what? There's something to that. Because this team, Texas, that had 12 players selected, also did not have its number 1 and number 3 tailbacks to start the year. Cedric Baxter could be every bit of what you think a Quinshon Judkins or a Travion Henderson was last year. He's got that kind of juice. Yeah, they lost Matthew Golden, but they're keeping Ryan Wingo. And Arch Manning, who will be draft eligible, may not come out until 2026 because the dude just likes playing college football. He's going to be a high selection. He might be the first guy off the board whenever he decides to enter the NFL draft. Carson Beck's going to hope he holds off until 2026, so maybe he can make the most of his spot down there in Miami and do what Cam Ward did. Then behind Texas, you got Oregon, who had 10 players drafted. Ole Miss, who had 8 players drafted. So of those top 5, Ole Miss is the only one that really did not reach its potential at any means. I mean, Oregon won a Big Ten championship in year 1, right? You get that. They go out against the national champion. Same thing for Texas. They go out against the national champion. Georgia, they go out an SEC champ, but they did that after their first-string quarterback got hurt, and they had to play Gunnar Stockton, who wasn't quite ready from a mature standpoint, but certainly is there from a talent standpoint. Ole Miss didn't do much with the $10, $12 million they spent, dog. You look at 8 players drafted for Ole Miss, you got to start asking questions. You got to start asking questions to Lane Kiffin going, what is it we paying you for? For which he'll go, I am for Ole Miss what Mike Gundy is for Oklahoma State, okay? I win. I just don't win championships like that. And they'd be like, well, even Mike Gundy got a Big 12 championship, for which they would be right. So at some point, you got to look at Lane Kiffin and go, can you stop making fun of Carson Beck getting paid and not lose opportunities to play for the SEC championship? I mean, same team that stopped a mud hole in Arkansas and walked it dry. Watch Tennessee get beat by Arkansas. Tennessee team that made the friggin' playoff. I need Ole Miss to be better. That's what I need. I need Ole Miss to be better so that we don't start making jokes about Lane Kiffin and how much he's getting paid to coach at Ole Miss, given the kind of players that they have given him to play with and they'll pay for. Then behind them, you got Alabama, Florida, LSU, Miami, and Michigan all had 7 players drafted. Not too shabby. Especially for a Florida team that didn't look very good through the first half of the season, then turned it up to where they might be a top 25 team when we open preseason this year. Notre Dame had 6 players selected, and they made the national championship game. That's not so much about how good their players were or weren't. That's how young they are, guys. That's how young they are. Riley Leonard, low draft pick, okay? Also went before Quinn Ewers, but low draft pick. Xavier Watts, one of the better safeties in all of college football. Benjamin Morrison, one of the better corners on talent in all of college football. Riley Mills, great defensive tackle. But they're returning a bunch. Jeremiah Love is back, right? They feel like they got a guy in C.J. Carr. They know they have wide receivers in Jaden Greathouse and Jordan Faison. They got dudes, all right? It's about, can they mature them? And if they can, I would expect to see Notre Dame right where they were last year in the college football playoff. Then we got Iowa, Penn State, South Carolina, UCLA, and Vatech get 5 players selected. Of this group, Penn State having 5 players selected, okay, sure. Now, Tyler Warren is one thing. Abdul Carter is another. And then we start looking around and we go, all right, where did Kobe King go? You know, are you going to get him any wide receivers to use? Do we count Keandre Lambert-Smith as one of yours? I mean, yeah, he's grad transfer, but he ended up his last year at Auburn, didn't go so well. There's a lot that I think Penn State still has to show me. I have more faith in Notre Dame getting back to the national championship game than I have Penn State getting to the national championship game. And a lot of that has to do with not just the kind of offense they run, but Drew Aller, right? Is Drew Aller going to be a high draft pick? Couldn't tell you, dog. I think Jackson Dart should have been a first-round draft pick, but you know what? Brian Daboll apparently sees Josh Allen in Jackson Dart. I'm sorry, what? How? How, Sway? How? It's like saying I see Alabama and North Dakota State. No, I don't. It's FCS program. It's a great FCS program. It's a Hall of Fame FCS program. Ain't no Hall of Fame FBS program. Ain't no Bama. Certainly ain't no Saban Bama. And I feel like when we make these sorts of character comps, these kind of, or no, player comps, not character comps, we kind of getting in over our skis, as the white folks say. I don't know because I don't go skiing. It's a saying that they use when they say you about to, keel over and fall over and trip and fall. It's more like, hey, dog, you better get your pad level low. Otherwise, you're going to get stood right up. And that's how this feels like it's going to go for the Giants. Feels like they're going to get stood up at the quarterback position, end up having to go to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is going to make somebody mad. Jameis Winston is going to get in there because everybody loves them some Jameis Winston. But, you got as much opportunity to go 30 for 30 with Jameis Winston as you do, I guess, Jackson Dart. So you're going to have to ride it out with him. Also, you can start this over again. The Giants be getting in their own way. I'm trying to tell y'all. Hey, the last time the Giants drafted a quarterback from Ole Miss, how'd it go? So which is it? Is Jackson Dart a Manning? Is he Eli Manning? Or is he Josh Allen? And if he is one of those, why in the blue hell did Lane Kiffin have a first-round quarterback and he couldn't even make the SEC championship game nor the college football playoff? Answer me that.